from day one, I was like, this dude is good. This dude is good. But like, also, I'm thinking like, damn, this dude is good. Do I belong?
Michael Jordan already solved Luka Doncic's biggest problem. June 2024, Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Kristaps Porziņģis, the exact player Dallas traded away, checks into TD Garden against his old team. 18 points in the first half alone. Boston opens up a 29-point lead in the first 20 minutes. Luka Doncic finishes the night with 30 points and just 1 assist, his fewest of the entire year. Not the playoffs, not a bad stretch, the whole season. He still scored, he wasn't cold. What broke down was everything around him. The offense simply stopped running through anyone else. That's not a shooting slump, that's a control problem, and it's a receipt. And it's not even the biggest one in this story. By the time this video is over, one of the players Luka's teams let walk out that door will already be standing in a record book right next to Michael Jordan's name, holding a trophy. Keep that in mind, because everything you're about to see is building toward that exact moment. The man who never needed Pippen to disappear. Michael Jordan was the most overwhelming force basketball had ever produced. He took the shots. He controlled the pressure. He demanded that everyone around him survive standards that broke ordinary players.
Winning has a price, and leadership has a price. So I pulled people along when they didn't want to be pulled. I challenge people when they don't want to be challenged.
And somehow, Scottie Pippen did not disappear beside him. He grew. Pippen became one of the greatest defenders the sport has ever seen, a point forward before that phrase even existed, a legitimate MVP candidate, and he became all of that without ever having to leave Chicago to find out who he was. That's the standard this story has to be measured against. Not whether a superstar makes the players around him more efficient. Almost every superstar does that. The real question is harder. Can another great player become more complete, more independent, more dangerous, standing right next to him? Or does he only get to find that out somewhere else? Jordan passed that test. Whether Luka Doncic has is a much messier question. And this story is about to give us 5 different answers. The question nobody wants to ask about Luka. Jalen Brunson had to leave Dallas before the league treated him like a franchise centerpiece. Kristaps Porziņģis had to leave before he ever got to lift the championship trophy. Kyrie Irving thrived next to Luka, reaching the finals with him. Though what happened right after complicates the story more than anyone expected. And when Luka joined forces with LeBron, even LeBron at 40 years old started adjusting how he played to make room for the league's next great engine.
He controls every facet of the game, from scoring to rebounding to passing.
Luka makes teammates better. Nobody seriously argues otherwise. But better at what? Better at becoming stars in their own right? Or better at helping Luka remain the center of everything? This isn't an accusation that Luka is selfish. It's something more uncomfortable. The possibility that his brilliance is so complete, so gravitational, that it quietly narrows how everyone else gets evaluated. Not by what they might become, but by how well they serve the version of basketball that Luka is already playing. This isn't a story about whether Luka is great. He obviously is. It's a story about what greatness costs the players standing next to it. And nobody found that out faster than the first star Dallas ever let walk right out that door. The night Dallas found its other star. April 18th, 2022, Game 2 against Utah. Luka is out with a strained calf. Dallas is 1 loss from an 0-2 hole. Jalen Brunson goes for 41 points, 15 of 25 shooting, 6 threes, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 turnovers in 42 minutes. The first 40-point playoff game in Mavericks history without a single turnover. Here's the part that matters. Dallas didn't discover a new player that night. It temporarily removed the one piece of structure that had made the rest of Brunson invisible. To be fair, this isn't the claim that Luka personally suppressed Brunson. Brunson stayed valuable once Luka returned, helping push Dallas to the Western Conference Finals later that same postseason. The claim is narrower. The night Dallas got the clearest look at Brunson's full offensive authority, the usual authority in the building was on the bench. A few months later, Dallas got a much more permanent look at what that meant.
It looked like, at least from the outside, you were maybe a little bit more aggressive or had more of an emphasis to look for your own or to play alongside Luka.
He's going to be able to draw so much attention, and then when the ball's swinging and moving, people got to be ready to make plays, and so.
The star Dallas trained itself to underrate. Brunson leaves as a free agent, reportedly after the Mavericks never put a real extension in front of him, and signs with the Knicks. The identity shift is almost immediate. Secondary creator becomes franchise engine. Depth chart insurance becomes a guy an entire fourth quarter runs through.
The ball was just going in for him, and we feed off that, the fans feed off that, so it was great momentum for us, and kind of.
Nobody made Dallas let him walk. That's on the front office, not Luka. But there's a harder question underneath. Did 4 years of being evaluated almost entirely through how well he complemented Luka make it easier for an organization to misjudge what Brunson could become with the ball fully in his hands? Dallas didn't lose a role player who happened to turn into a star somewhere else. Dallas lost a star it had trained itself over 4 years to see as a role player. Now hold that thought and put it next to what happened in Chicago when Jordan actually left. What Chicago did that Dallas didn't. Jordan retires before the 1993-94 season. Pippen, for the first time, is the unquestioned engine of a championship caliber roster. He responds with 22 points, 8.7 rebounds, 5.6 assists, and 2.9 steals a night, second in the league. He's an All-Star Game MVP, first team All-NBA, third in MVP voting. Chicago goes 55-27 and pushes the Knicks to the brink. Pippen didn't need a new team or a new city to discover any of that. Chicago had already been building him into someone who could do it, season after season, while Jordan was there, setting the tone every single day. That's the distinction. Pippen became a star beside Jordan. Brunson had to become one away from Luka. The greatest partnerships in this sport don't produce one superstar and one very efficient assistant.
You can't stop great guys. You can't stop great players. Just hope they miss.
They produce two players who are more complete for having shared a locker room together. Brunson is one case. The next one is where this story stops being an argument and starts being a scar. The unicorn reduced to a job description. Kristaps Porziņģis dealt with real, significant injuries in Dallas. His mobility fluctuated. None of that is Luka's fault, and none of it should be waved away. But watch how the public conversation around Porziņģis narrowed while he was in Dallas. It stopped being about what he might become and started being almost entirely about what he could provide. Could he space the floor for Luka's drives? Could he punish smaller defenders and Luka's mismatches? Could he protect the rim behind Luka? Pippen became indispensable in Chicago because his job description kept expanding. Porziņģis became easier to trade in Dallas because his job description, it kept narrowing, until useful to Luka was most of what was left of the conversation. That narrow job description is exactly what got him traded, and what happened the next time he walked onto a court against Dallas is the scene this video opened with. The half that ended a trade. Dallas trades Porziņģis to Washington. Washington turns around and flips him to Boston. A year later, in Game 1 of the 2024 Finals, Porziņģis, who'd missed over a month with a calf injury, checks into TD Garden against his old team. 18 points in the first half, 20 for the game, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. Boston opens a 29-point lead in 20 minutes. Nobody's claiming Boston turned Porziņģis into a better individual talent than he was in Dallas. What Boston did was simpler and more damning. They found 4 or 5 different ways to use him without asking their entire offense to orbit one ball handler. Dallas spent years asking whether Porziņģis was good enough to play next to Luka. Boston spent one half showing exactly how many ways it could use him to attack Luka. Now, the evidence that actually pushes back on all of this, and it definitely deserves some real weight. The best defense Luka has. Kyrie Irving thrived next to Luka. The pairing reached the 2024 Finals. Kyrie could create his own offense, play off the ball, close games, and take pressure directly off Luka in a way almost nobody else on that roster could. If you're building the case that great players can't stay whole next to Luka, Kyrie is the biggest problem you have to explain. So let's explain it honestly. Kyrie had already learned to survive next to a ball-dominant partner. 3 seasons next to LeBron in Cleveland. He may simply be one of the only rare talents skilled enough to preserve his own identity inside almost anyone's system. Then, weeks after Luka was traded away in February 2025, Kyrie tore his ACL. He hasn't played since. The one clean experiment this story wants, Kyrie's game with Luka gone and the ball fully his, never got to happen. Not because the theory failed, because reality never let the test run. So Kyrie is a draw. The next stress test isn't. It's the biggest name in this entire video, until the very end. Even LeBron changed. February 2025. Dallas trades Luka to the Lakers. He is now standing next to a 40-year-old who spent 2 decades deciding exactly how NBA offense would be played. The early returns are messy. 3 ball-dominant playmakers occupying overlapping space. First-round exit in 2025. Then, in March of 2026, something shifts. LeBron's role visibly narrows into a clear third option, clearing space for Luka and Austin Reeves to run the offense.
He moves at his own pace, and he's never, ever been on the floor where he's allowed someone to dictate where they're going to put him on the floor. It's always been the opposite, you know? And for us, when we all working off of that, we just got to stay ready.
The Lakers go 15-2. That's not a story about Luka failing to make it work with LeBron. It's the opposite kind of story, and arguably more uncomfortable. The most adjustable superstar in basketball history had to be the one who bent, which raises an obvious question. If the greatest basketball mind of his generation was the one who had to adjust to Luka, what chance did Brunson or Porziņģis ever have of making Luka adjust to them? By the numbers, the pairing was never smooth. The Lakers struggled on both ends for most of the season and a half. Luka and LeBron shared the floor. The Lakers got swept in the second round of 2026. Weeks later, LeBron told the organization he's leaving. No reported rift, just 2 ball-dominant stars whose mechanics never fully clicked. So that's the theory, tested against 2 of the most dangerous co-stars in the league. There's one more data point, the one still being written in real time, 400 miles east. The other model. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not a gentler, more deferential superstar than Luka. Back-to-back MVPs, a 59.7 effective field goal percentage at his volume, one of the most efficient high-usage scoring seasons in the league, a championship and finals MVP in 2025. He dominates the ball as completely as anyone alive. And still, next to him, Jalen Williams built a game that looks nothing like a finishing role. In the Thunder's title season, first All-Star team, All-NBA third team, all defensive honors, a legitimate go-to scorer in stretches when Shai sat or got loaded up on. Now, this isn't a claim that Williams and Shai are already the next Jordan and Pippen. This season made that uncertainty obvious the cruel way. Williams strained his hamstring in the first round against Phoenix, missed the rest of that series and all the second round, then returned for Game 1 of the conference finals and re-aggravated it almost immediately. He was in and out the rest of the series and didn't play Game 7. Oklahoma City still didn't lose a single game until the conference finals, where a short-handed Thunder team finally fell to the Spurs in 7. Shai put up 35 in the closing loss. It wasn't enough. The point was never that Williams becomes equally important every night. It's that Shai never needed him to stay small to remain the best player on the floor. Luka creates advantages and asks teammates to finish them. Shai creates advantages while teaching teammates to create the next one themselves. That's the theory Shai is living out right now, in real time. But if you want proof this can actually happen, not potential, an actual finished result, there's one more name in this story, and it just happened. The receipt gets paid. Remember the receipt from the top of this video? Here's where it gets paid, in full. June 2026. Jalen Brunson leads the New York Knicks to the NBA championship, closing out the Spurs in 5 games, New York's first title in 53 years. He does it with 45 points in the clinching game, a Knicks finals record. Only 3 other players in league history have ever scored 45 points in a closeout win to clinch a championship: Michael Jordan, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bob Pettit. Brunson just joined Jordan's club, in a story built entirely around Jordan's own standard. All 11 media voters gave him Finals MVP, unanimously. He's only the 4th player in NBA history to win it after being a second-round pick. Before Brunson arrived in New York, the Knicks had won exactly 1 playoff series in 21 seasons. In 4 years with him, they've won at least 1 every single year, and now they're champions. The guy Dallas evaluated for 4 years, mostly by how well he complemented Luka, is now a champion, a unanimous Finals MVP, and sitting in the same record book as Michael Jordan. That's the loudest answer this story has gotten. The greatness test. Zoom out, and this pattern isn't new. Magic made Kareem better, and Kareem made Magic better. Shaq and Kobe, however violently, both left more complete than they arrived. The greatest partnerships in this sport don't produce one star and one very efficient assistant. They change both players until neither could have gotten there alone. Every Luka partnership so far has started with the same question. How does the other guy have to change to make this work? Nobody's answered the harder one yet. How much Luka is willing to change for someone else? Here's where the evidence sits. Without forcing an ending it hasn't earned, Brunson didn't just find his authority away from Luka, he won it all. Porziņģis had to leave Dallas to win a championship. Kyrie thrived beside him, but never got to prove what came next. LeBron adjusted enough to win games, but not enough to stay. None of that means Luka can't pass the test Jordan passed. He's 27, already one of the most gifted offensive players alive, and now the unquestioned long-term centerpiece of the Lakers. No one left to defer to, no one left to blame. The challenge in front of him isn't scoring or playmaking anymore. It's whether he can help another great player become more independent, more complete, more dangerous beside him, without that independence eventually starting to feel unnecessary. Michael Jordan didn't make Scottie Pippen smaller.
I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well.
He challenged him, trusted him, and eventually needed Pippen to carry parts of a dynasty Jordan couldn't carry alone. That's what the greatest partnerships in this sport actually do. Luka has already proven he can control almost every part of a basketball game by himself. What he hasn't proven yet is whether another great player can fully grow standing right next to him without giving part of himself away. And right now, the clearest answer anyone has given to that question is standing on a podium in a New York jersey, holding a trophy Dallas never let him compete for. So here's the question. Does Luka create great partners, or does he create the greatest possible supporting cast for Luka? If this is your first time here, welcome to Rattling the Rim. Thanks for watching, genuinely. Drop your take in the comments. Does Luka create great partners, or is he proof that some superstars are just built to make everyone else a supporting act? Compare him to Jordan, Magic, Shaq, LeBron, even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Whoever proves your point. That's exactly the conversation this channel wants to have. And if you want to be here for the next one, subscribe, turn on those notifications. We're just getting started. Rattling the Rim is where the truth shatters the backboard.